President Tinubu presents record 58.18 trillion naira 2026 appropriation bill before a joint session of the National Assembly.
The 2026 budget is guided by 4 clear objectives. 1. Consolidate macroeconomic stability. Improve the businesses, investment, environment.
Ranching is the magic wand to sustainable food security, Livestock Minister tells private partners.
It is a very, very fertile area for us to collaborate with them in terms of genetic improvement and multiplication.
Also on the news, sub-nationals in the Northeast move to empower more citizens.
Beneficiaries will be trained in financial management, modern business practices, digital skills, and customer relations, ensuring that these funds are utilized responsibly.
You're welcome to the news at 9 on the network service of the Nigerian Television Authority. I'm Lami Ali. Thank you for joining us. In Lagos, Awal Yusuf Jibo has the latest from Nigeria's commercial hub. Benny will drive us through the world of business. Benny, what's new?
Well, markets across Africa, actually major markets, investors are smiling home as the markets are green. In Nigeria, it's more than 1 trillion naira gain.
Well, investors are always smiling to the bank. Bade is also on the sports desk with waves in the world of sports. So, Bade, tell us.
2 days to AFCON 2025, Nigeria Super Eagles are intensifying training. And of course, there's boost for league football in Nigeria.
Link with us online on nta.ng/live. You can also check us on other social media platforms. Our handles are displayed on the screen. We begin with the national budget. President Bola Tinubu has presented the 2026 budget proposal of 58.18 trillion naira to a joint session of the National Assembly. President Tinubu said the appropriation bill titled Budget of Consolidation, Renewed Resilience and Shared Prosperity will deliver the full promise of renewed hope agenda with plans to ensure that the 2026 budget is implemented strictly in line with the appropriated details and timelines. State House correspondent Muswat and Wahab reports.
Here is a statutory meeting of the Federal Executive Council, FEC. Only one agenda on the table for consideration, the 2026 appropriation bill, which must be approved by the Council before presentation to the National Assembly. Vice President Kashim Shettima chaired the meeting, which saw amendments to the Medium-Term Expenditure Framework, MTF 2026-2028.
So the Federal Executive Council approved both the amendment to the MTEP as well as the 2026 budget proposal for presentation to the National Assembly.
President Bola Tinubu takes the FEC-sanctioned proposals to the National Assembly. State governors and Federal Executive Council members, among others, witness as the President lays the budget of consolidation, renewed resilience and shared prosperity. The key sectoral provisions of the budget shows the renewed hope agenda priorities for the coming fiscal year, with defense and security getting highest proposed allocation of 5.41 trillion naira. 3.56 trillion naira is proposed to improve infrastructures, 3.52 trillion naira for education, and health completes the top 4 with 2.48 trillion naira budget.
The 2026 budget is guided by 4 clear objectives. 1. Consolidate macroeconomic stability. Improve the businesses, investment, environment. Promote job-rich growth and reduce poverty. And strengthen human capital development while protecting the vulnerable.
The key objectives notwithstanding, the president says security takes priority for its centrality to other socio-economic and political sectors.
We will usher in a new era of criminal justice. We will show no mercy, I repeat, to those who commit or support acts of terrorism, banditry, kidnapping for ransom, and other violent crimes. Forest-based armed groups and foreign-linked mercenaries will all be targeted. We will go after all those who perpetrated violence for political or sectarian ends, along with those who finance and facilitate their evil schemes.
2025 saw concurrent implementation of multiple budgets, but now President Tinubu says 2026 will be a year of stronger discipline in budget execution.
Let me be upfront with you. This is a reset, a very hard one. Avoiding abandoned projects, unpaid contractual obligations, and running a multiple budget, both inherited and unfulfilled mandates, is a problem staring the nation. So we are terminating the habit of running 3 budgets on one inflow. By March 31st, 2026, all capital liabilities from previous years will be fully funded and closed.
And to achieve that, President Tinubu reviews directives to appropriate ministries, departments and agencies of government to ensure that the 2026 budget is implemented strictly in line with the appropriated details and timelines.
We will build trust by matching our words with results and our allocations with outcomes. The most significant budget is not the one we announce, it is the one we deliver.
President Tinubu assures that agriculture will also be strengthened to ensure food security while sustaining procurement reforms already enhancing efficiency and cost savings for the government. He believes that with these and other revenue leakage blocking measures in place, his government will compensate Nigerians' understanding and perseverance in the coming year with fulfillment of renewed hope agenda promises. From the National Assembly, Musbal and Wahab, NT News.
And the leadership of the National Assembly has pledged to work with the executive to ensure that every naira appropriated for the 2026 fiscal year serves the Nigerian people. National Assembly correspondent Mitaire Ikpen reports that lawmakers are also looking forward to fulfillment of the President's promise of single budget operation for every fiscal year going forward.
President Tinubu is not a stranger in Parliament, judging from the reception accorded him during the laying of the 2026 budget proposals. The presiding officers commend the bold economic reforms of the Tinubu administration, piloted by previous budgets, while calling for greater fiscal discipline in the implementation of the 2026 budget.
Every challenge before us is also an invitation to build a more equitable economy, to secure our communities, to restore trust in public life, and to ensure that the promise of Nigeria is not postponed but delivered today.
Growth must increasingly translate into jobs, higher incomes, and expanded opportunity. Your insistence that there should be no parallel budgets, no multiple spending windows, and no fragmented fiscal authorities.
The President's promise to put a stop to multiple budgets running concurrently is a breath of fresh air for lawmakers who desire that the budget proposals for 2026 meet the yearnings and aspirations of the masses.
We are going to call for budget oversight to see what has happened to the remaining of 2024 and a capital of 2025 before we even talk about passing the budget.
He has clarified that at least by April next year, we are going to operate on a single budget.
We cannot be operating 3 different budgets under one revenue source.
What interested me is on the issue of security, health, and agriculture.
The President is also putting over 3.5 trillion naira in the area of infrastructure. That means also aware of this area of the deficit in the infrastructure.
We have more oil rigs coming up. Our rig count has increased, so that can actually help to give us more revenue to fund the budget.
Prior to the laying of the 2026 budget, both chambers in plenary received 2 executive bills seeking to merge the capital component of the 2024 and 2025 budgets and extend their implementation to 31st of March 2026.
To allow for full releases of the target of the 30% for all the MDS.
The bills are submitted to cater for all items not previously recognized, while also reflecting a revised capital implementation target of 30%.
The President's request has been referred to the Senate and House committees on appropriation for consideration. From the National Assembly, Mitaire Ikben, NTA News.
Meanwhile, shortly after the 2026 budget presentation by the President, some cabinet ministers and members of the National Assembly shared their views with the National Assembly correspondent Muhammad Rabiu Ali on the appropriation bill and its priority areas.
You can see from the President's own remark that this is a document that aims to address all the concerns that Nigerians have, and that it is not just a promissory note, it is aimed at implementing all those things that he has said. This is what is important at this point.
Honorable Minister, there is issue of security, which he made a kind of a big, allocation to it. And he says, like a quote, he said, no mercy to, banditry and terrorism. What this entails?
Absolutely so. You'll agree with me that this is number one problem that we have in this country, the issue of security, banditry, criminality, and other violent crimes. This has led also to some members of the national community, making some allegations against Nigeria. So the government of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is taking this very, very seriously, addressing these issues. And as he has said, no mercy on all those who have said we are not going to sleep with our eyes closed again in this country. He has given directive. All those who are participating, aiding, and abetting criminality and other forms of crime in this country will never sleep, and then will also have to sleep in this country. This is the message of the Mr. President, taking security very, very seriously, and you can see some of the changes that he has made so far. You can see the allocation of funds that he has made. These are all aimed at ensuring that Nigerians sleep with their eyes closed, and we are going to put security behind us by the grace of God.
He made it clear that this year's budget is going to be a budget of consolidation, that we are going to consolidate on the activities of government in the past years. And there's one important remark that the President made, that this 2026 budget will not witness a parallel execution as you have in the past. That is to say, multiple implementation of year budgets like 2024, 2025 will be admitted. And he has given a marching order to the Minister of Finance, Budget, DG, and the Akata Joint to ensure that...
And one thing that the President deserves a pat on the back is the determined effort on the part of the Executive to ensure that for every budgetary year, there should be only one single budget for implementation, instead of having multiple budgets in a single year for implementation. This brings about a lot of physical distortions in the economic arena.
And government will continue to spend money. National Assembly will continue to approve and appropriate money to combat insecurity in this country. Because a secure nation is a nation that can develop. If we are not secure, we cannot think about pursuing any meaningful thing.
I congratulate Mr. President for taking this bold step, and I pray that the National Assembly will continue to be on hand to scrutinize and ensure that what is proposed is actually what is approved, and ensure comprehensive oversight of the executive.
Reactions there on the 2026 budget presentation. Well, we've heard the 2026 budget presentation by President Bola Tinubu and the responses from the bicameral session of the National Assembly. In the studio to analyze the budget of consolidation, renewed resilience and shared prosperity is the Director, Capital Markets Institute, Nasarawa State University, KEFI, Professor Uche Waluke. Prof, thank you for joining us in the studio.
Thank you so much, Lami, for inviting me.
All right, so President Tinubu, as the presentation of the 2026 appropriation bill, directed that capital projects from 2024-2025 budgets will be fully funded and completed in the next 4 months as the budget cycles ends in March 2026. Now, what does that mean for the economy, and what are your thoughts on the magnitude of funds needed to accomplish this?
Okay, first we have, I would say we have a good policy document, no doubt. But just as the President rightly observed in his own words, the greatest budget is not the one government announces. The greatest budget is the one that government delivers. It's against this backdrop that one welcomes the idea of, putting to an end this multiple, implementation of budgets within a single, fiscal year. Of course, by having this reset in April, I have no doubt that it will go a long way to impact on development, particularly when you consider the fact that it will help to put an end to this the seemingly intractable problem of or challenge of abandoned projects. So I think that's a step in the right direction. And talking about priorities, particularly the capital component. If you look at that budget proposal, capital component is about 26 billion. Priorities generally, I think they are also right. Security is taking the lion's share for obvious reasons. We know security is a binding constraint to anything you want to do in the budget, about 5.6 trillion, and followed by infrastructure. Now, with respect to infrastructure, we have about 3.5 trillion for infrastructure. I think, in my view, even though it's relatively large, given the size of the budget. But if you look at it in dollar terms, 3.5 trillion is just about $2.5 billion. So the money we have for infrastructure, I think is still on the low side, particularly given the huge infrastructure challenge we have in this country. Talking about transport, talking about energy, and a whole lot. And within that infrastructure space, you also find them, including agriculture. That's why I think that the money, the vote for infrastructure, it's small. But again, that can also be augmented by, pushing some of those things off the budget, infrastructure spending off the budget. And that is where I think, issues to do with blended finance, infrastructure bonds, PPPs, concessioning, can come in, to help the government in what it is doing in the area of infrastructure.
So let us take a look at the numbers in the whole package. Expected expenditure is 58.18 trillion naira. Capital expenditure is 26.08 trillion. Budget deficit is 23.85 trillion, representing 4.28% of the GDP. Recurrent non-debt expenditure is 15.25 trillion naira. Debt servicing is 15.52 trillion, while expected total revenue is 34.33 trillion. What are your thoughts
Yes,
on
my
these
thoughts,
numbers?
of course, those numbers are a result of the assumptions themselves, the benchmarks that are used, which in my view are to a large extent realistic. Talking about the exchange rate of 1,400 naira, as opposed to what they had in the medium-term expenditure framework, which was later amended. In that framework, they had 1,512. So it's no use overestimating your revenues. So 1,004 for me is more realistic. The issue of what I consider to be the greatest, fragile aspect of it, has to do with oil production. Oil output of 1.84 million barrels per day, in my view, it's a little ambitious. If you look at our historical records, I would have suggested something around maybe 1.7 to 1.75 million barrels per day, as opposed to having over 1.8 million barrels. The moment we miss that, again, that will pose a lot of fiscal risk. But for the exchange rate, I think is in order. Is realistic, but I'm a little concerned about the deficit. To 24 billion, which is already higher than what we have in the Fiscal Responsibility Act.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
4.28% deficit is, for me, a little on the high side.
Thank you so much, Prof, for sharing your perspectives on those numbers, and we thank you, and we look forward to more breakdown of the budget in subsequent bulletins. We thank you so much for coming.
My pleasure, Lami.
You're watching the news at 9 on the network service of NTA. We go to Benny for the business news. Benny.
Thank you, Lami. And talking business, a public-private partnership to end low productivity in agricultural production has been sealed between NICEL and African food change makers. This is aimed at strengthening the continent's food systems with a focus on smallholder farmers. The stakeholders say the partnership will reduce issues of limited access to finance. This is in addition to linking local farmers across the continent by expanding market access.
Most of the requirements are too high for, some of us farmers to, meet. Grants to me is better.
Our goal here is to help to aggregate them together to build a community around them, and then with that community and that power of that community, and then use that to approach financing institutions, commercial banks to help them to access those funds.
So what we're doing is to design those innovative financing frameworks, and a lot of banks have actually bought into it, and that's why we're able to, in this year alone, to facilitate over 100 billion into agribusiness.
Looking at the stock markets, major stock markets across Africa from Nigeria to South Africa and Tunisia closed in green territory, with the Nigerian exchange extending gains as investors went home with 1.08 trillion naira. The benchmark all share index rose 1.13% with 33 gainers led by Union Daikan against 23 decliners led by Sovereigns. The South Africa JSE Top 40 appreciated by 0.35%, while the Tunisia Tune Index appreciated by 0.22%. That is it on business for the week. Lami, it's over to you.
Thank you, Benny. The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has met with the leadership of the two factions of the People's Democratic Party, PDP. Chairman of the commission, Professor Joash Amopiton, says the meeting became necessary following conflicting correspondences received from the party. Timothy Yusuf reports.
It's a family affair meeting at the instance of INEC with the two factions of the PDP. The Kabiru Turaki-led National Working Committee was accompanied by BOT Chairman Senator Adolphus Wabara, former Governor of Niger State Dr. Muazu Babangida Aliyu, Ambassador Tawfiq Arakbaja, among others, while the Abdurrahman Mohammed-led National Caretaker Committee was accompanied by Senators Samuel Ayanwa Mao Habunwa, as well as Captain Umar Bature, among others. Before the meeting went into closed door, INEC Chairman Professor Joash Amopiton believes all contending issues can be resolved.
The Independent National Electoral Commission is charged statutorily under the Act and under the Constitution to monitor the activities of political parties. We are guided by the provisions of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, the Electoral Act, and the regulations that have been made by INEC pursuant to the provisions of the Constitution as well as the provisions of the Electoral Act 2022.
At the end of the meeting that lasted for about 3 hours, both factions disclosed that they had a fruitful discussion, although issues yet to be resolved.
We've made presentation of what we think the issues are, and we've spoken to those issues. And INEC had listened to us, and INEC had said, even though that there are matters that are before the Court of Appeal, and matters have not been heard, and INEC cannot take the place of a court of jurisdiction, but that they will look into what we have said.
We're yet to get a decision of INEC on the matter, but both sides spoke, and we're all able to punch out the loopholes where the problem is coming from. It has to do with greed, ambition, and ego of some people. But as a matter of fact, as a responsible party, we believe in the rule of law, the electoral guidelines, and the INEC guidelines, and of course, the constitution of our great party, which is it's a great norm of whatever we are doing.
INEC is to communicate its position on the meeting in the coming days, either by convening another meeting or by correspondence. Timothy Yusuf, NTA News.
Nigeria's quest to transition from the traditional system of animal husbandry to modern-day ranching is gaining momentum. The Minister of Livestock Development, Idi Mukhtar Meha, stated this while inspecting one of the largest private ranches in Nasarawa State, owned by the former Speaker of the House of Representatives, Yakubu Dogara. According to the minister, ranching remains a sustainable solution to improving livestock productivity, enhancing food security, and reducing farmer-herder conflicts across the country. Yusuf Jika reports.
Farm sitting on 250 hectares of land is thriving on modern-day ranching with cultivated pasture using improved seed varieties alongside poultry, dairy production, cattle fattening for red meat, and other segments of the livestock value chain. Inspecting the farm for possible collaboration, the Minister of Livestock Development, Idi Mukhtar Meha, said ranching remains a critical part of Nigeria's livestock ecosystem. He noted that with the Manchong Ranch model, Nigeria could soon establish further supermarkets capable of attracting livestock farmers from across Africa.
It is a very, very fertile area for us to collaborate with them in terms of genetic improvement and multiplication. So for us here today, in this country, we have some of these lighthouses. These are pilot farms that are demonstrated beyond any reasonable doubt that this can be done, and we are ready to work with them.
One of Nigeria's largest ranch owners and former Speaker of the House of Representatives, Yakubu Dogara, said, as the country moves to transform its livestock sector, it is incumbent on well-meaning Nigerians to buy into the initiative.
I took it upon myself to say, okay, why can't we demonstrate to our people that this thing is doable? When you're talking about ranching, it looks like a far-flung kind of an idea, something that is not achievable.
With this development, Nigeria appears set for a major breakthrough as the Minister of Livestock Development intensifies efforts to promote public-private partnerships aimed at driving growth in the sector and positioning it for global competitiveness. In Abuja, Yusuf Jika, NTA News.
Now, Borno State government over time remained committed to investing in human capital developments. This is because it believes that the true wealth of the state lies not only in its natural resources, but in the skills, creativity, and determination of its people. Governor Babagana Umar Zulum stated this in Maiduguri while launching a 1 billion naira empowerment and training program targeting more than 5,000 GSM marketers and technicians across the state. Muhammad Guni reports.
The 1 billion naira empowerment scheme targets 3,500 GSM marketers and 1,050 GSM technicians selected from across the state to undergo 1 month of intensive training, after which beneficiaries will be provided with starter packs. Chairman of the GSM operators, marketers and technicians, alongside other beneficiaries, appreciated the state government for the gesture and pledged to use the initiative to boost their businesses.
Your Excellency, you have given us a foundation on which we can build our brighter future for ourselves.
Governor Zulum noted that the program was not just about disbursing funds or conducting training, but about renewing hope, restoring dignity, strengthening the economic resilience of the people, particularly hardworking youth and small-scale entrepreneurs who form the backbone of the state's economy.
Beneficiaries will be trained in financial management, modern business practices, digital skills, and customer relations, ensuring that these funds are utilized responsibly and effectively.
The governor highlighted other initiatives of his administration aimed at empowering the youth, including the establishment of vocational skills and acquisition centers across the state to equip young people with practical and employable skills. He also recalled the recruitment of able-bodied youth as road marshals under the Borno State Transport Management Agency, providing employment while promoting order and safety on the roads. Governor Zulum assured other groups and associations across the state of government's commitment to extending similar empowerment programs to all. The Commissioner for Youth and Poverty Alleviation, Sain Nabuba, commended the governor's passion for improving the welfare of the citizenry, especially the youth, and urged beneficiaries to make judicious use of the opportunity. In Maiduguri, Mahmoud Goni, NTA News.
The federal government's agenda of strengthening small and medium enterprises has secured the buy-in of Gombe State as the government is ready to ensure a business-ready environment. This is as the state convenes a stakeholders' engagement under the State Action on Business-Enabling Reforms, focusing on access to credit. Emmanuel Akila reports.
This meeting brings together financial institutions, small and medium enterprises operators to highlight available federal and state-backed credit schemes to simplify investment loan procedures.
The essence is to improve the business environment, to encourage investors to come to the state. We have opportunities for people to participate in trading, we have opportunities for people to participate in farming. So a lot of economic activities will happen by this program.
Businesses flourish when you have access to finance. And we felt it is the right time now to bring them together with the financial institutions to show them what is abound, what is available.
Financial experts guide prospective and existing investors on business registration, documentation, and financial literacy as key requirements for accessing funds.
Access to credit is very important for businesses. They need support, especially from financial institutions.
The state government reaffirms alignment with federal government reforms aimed at easing the environment for doing business, boosting entrepreneurship, and driving sustainable economic growth in Gombe State. Emmanuel Akila, NTA News.
Network News continues in Lagos with Awal Yusuf Jibo.
And welcome to Lagos. The Nigerian Army has reiterated its resolve to begin a comprehensive overhaul of its training systems and school curricula as part of efforts to build a more professional, adaptable, and combat-ready force. Chief of Army Staff Lieutenant General Waidi Shaibu revealed this at the closing ceremony of this year's Chief of Army Staff's annual conference held in Lagos. Lynn Leneke reports that the Army Chief said the reforms will commence next year.
In line with improving training, administration and logistics operations of the Nigerian Army for optimal performance, the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Waidi Shaibu, has reaffirmed his commitment to rejig training to align with his command philosophy. He noted that the initiative would be mission-focused and align with the service's evolving operational environment.
More emphasis will also be placed on training and employment of our special forces and Army aviation, among others, to achieve our desired operational outcomes. In a nutshell, we shall be making radical and informed changes to our training and operational activities in the coming year with deliberate intervention in the training needs of the Special Forces School to optimally conduct its training.
The Army Chief noted that though the country's security environment is becoming more complex, the Army is enhancing capabilities in intelligence, surveillance, target acquisition, and cyber operations to tackle insecurity.
Our current regional dynamics with the attendant instability coupled with global shifts in character of warfare requires that we continuously learn, adapt, and innovate at all levels.
He pledged the Army's commitment to continuously have robust interactive engagement on the administration, training, and operations. In Lagos, Lynn Leneke, NTA News.
From the Army, we shift attention to pension matters. Nigerians should expect a more comprehensive pension scheme in the coming year as the nation's pension commission is building on the momentum it has acquired so far to rebuild trust, expand coverage, and strengthen governance. The Director General, National Pension Commission, Omolola Oluwararo made this known while interacting with major stakeholders in the sector. Lanric Bile has details.
The Director General, National Pension Commission, PENCOM, Omolola Oluwararo, presenting the Commission's scorecard for the year 2025 to members of the media, pension fund administrators, and other stakeholders, reeled out key policy changes. She said the introduction of Pension 1.0 has added 2.6 billion naira to the monthly pension payments across board for contributory pension scheme retirees. Outstanding pension increase backlogs for federal government's treasury-funded retirees dating as far back as 2007 have been paid. Also, a waiting time for payment of approved rights have been restored, meaning when one retires, he or she gets paid immediately, provided the person's documents are in order.
There's also the Pen Care, which is an initiative of the PENCOM that is for the low-income earners to access free health care. And it is expected that about 30,000 retirees from the 6 geopolitical zones of the country will kickstart this.
We formally launched Pension Revolution 2.0, the most comprehensive reform agenda in the Nigerian pension industry since 2004. This was not cosmetic reform, it wasn't just a buzz name, it was structural. It brought together new regulations, stronger supervision, governance reforms, digital transformation, and industry realignment.
The program also provides an opportunity for interactive session between the Director General PENCOM and the media. Management of PENCOM revealed that the new policy changes have brought immediate positive changes, with total pension recoveries from January to November 2025 reaching 4 billion naira compared to 1.4 billion naira of the whole of 2024. In Lagos, Lanri Bileyi, NTA News.
Thank you for saying. The highest decision-making organ of the governing All Progressives Congress, APC, has held its 15th National Executive Committee meeting with far-reaching resolutions dominating the agenda, preparatory to the internal party leadership recruitment process and the 2027 general election. Political correspondent Abubakar Akwanga reports.
This is the highest gathering of who is who on the platform of the governing All Progressives Congress, APC, and a period for sober reflection, gain counting and prospecting into a new dawn. Now, the adoption and secondment of minutes from the last NEC held on the 24th of July 2025 provided a smooth take-off of the 19th December scheduled National Executive Committee meeting attended by the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
Our objective still remains that we want to strengthen and galvanize the party structures at all levels, and we are enhancing our structural and strategic preparedness ahead of the next election cycle. This historic achievement makes the South-South the only zone in the Federation fully under the leadership of our great party. At the national level, the APC continues to enjoy a commanding majority in the National Assembly, both in the Senate and the House of Representatives. I warmly commend the leadership of the National Assembly for their effective evangelism of the party, which has attracted significant defection from the opposition.
As a tradition, the party assessed the journey so far and appreciated the growing popularity of the party, which is evident in the recent gale of defection by opposition platforms to the progressives fold.
People do not cross over because of slogans. They cross over because they trust judgment, they trust courage and staying power. They know that our president understands opposition, understands power, and understands how to keep pace with those who take political risks.
Once again, reposed in you by the APC governors, we share in that in the National Assembly. So we say that we have confidence, implicit confidence in your capacity, in your clarity of purpose, and your ability to navigate the very difficult terrain to take Nigeria to the next level. So we say congratulations so far for a job well done.
The reforms have been difficult but necessary. with legislature working to stabilize them through law, oversight, and representation. In mature democracies, reform relies on legislative partnership, which this administration has deliberately fostered.
It is an irony that politicians who also contested elections to become the president of Nigeria, in their manifestos made promises to undertake the same reforms if elected into office. The same people are the ones now trying to weaponize the implementation of the policies in the name of opposition politics.
In forecasting into the next election season, the party moved 2 composite motions dwelling on the coordination of congresses at all levels, as well as tenure of some states' chapters, referencing Article 13, Sub 3A as an alibi, emphasizing legislative and executive partnership for national cohesion and prosperity. The leader of all progressives and the incumbent president of Nigeria, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, said the party has proven to remain dependable for all Nigerians and insisted that the impact of the economy reforms will continue to blossom for the majority.
We are going for state police. So we do the forest rangers, we will arm them. We will defeat those terrorists and bandits. We must a centralized lotto. Go and read the Constitution again. It's a residual matter where my exclusive legislative capacity as the president starts and ends. Residual matter belongs to the exclusive legislative matter of the state. Don't tread near it. There's no need for us to argue.
President Bola Ahmed Tinubu charged party loyalists to keep faith with the leadership of the country and pursue agenda that will unite and keep Nigerians safe and protected for all to thrive. In Abuja, Abubakar Akwanga, NTA News.
Sports news is next.
Many thanks, Lami. Let's begin from home. Borough FC on Friday recorded a 4-1 victory over leaders Rivers United in the rescheduled match day 5 clash of the Nigeria Premier Football League in Kano. The emphatic victory takes Borough out of the relegation zone, up to 16th on the log. Meanwhile, 8 matches will be decided on Sunday as part of match day 18 fixtures, with 1 match scheduled for Monday and the last fixture coming on Tuesday. Away from Nigeria to the English Premier League, where Newcastle United are at home to Chelsea in Saturday's early kickoff, with Manchester City entertaining West Ham United in a match that will be live on NTA from 3:30 in the afternoon. Tottenham host Liverpool, while the Everton versus Arsenal clash ends Saturday's fixtures. And of course, Manchester United are in action on Sunday away to Aston Villa, as Fulham and Nottingham Forest will be ending match day 17 games. That does it on Sports Tonight. Let's return to Lami.
Thank you, Buddy. And that's the news. We thank you for watching. I'm Lami Ali. Have a good weekend.